Hey guys, we are going to test out the brand new Lawless foundation. This is the Forget the Filler Skin Plumping Line Smoothing Foundation. We're going to play around with it today, give a quick review, and see if this can go on my list of amazing foundations, especially cruelty-free foundations. That's what I'm focused on right now, is on the hunt for really good products that are cruelty-free. I've been really on a quest to find, especially foundations, like good base, primers, skin tints, and foundations. So we're going to test this one out. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so before we get started trying it on the skin, we'll talk a little bit about the foundation itself. This one I think is going to be, hopefully, your more hydrating kind of foundation. And keep in mind that I am 46, so I do tend to try out products that are more for dry skin, because my skin is a dry skin type, and I really like the more, I will have to say, a little more glowing types of base. So if you are that person who likes the same, those are the kinds of things I try out. Occasionally I like a good matte. It has its place, but I'm just way more into really glowing, beautiful foundations. So this one has hyaluronic acid, and so that's what makes me think it's going to be a little more hydrating one. I think it also has vitamin E in it. It doesn't say on the box, just from what I've seen out there. So antioxidants. I think it also has glycerin blend. So it's also kind of treating the skin too and protecting the skin barrier, those kinds of things. I love foundations that are skincare-like. So totally has me roped in. What I also love about Lawless in particular is, first of all, I just love their products. Everything I've ever tried from them, but of course I've done mostly lips. They have amazing lip products, but I love that they're cruelty-free, as I said before. And so I've really transitioned this year in 2025. I'm focusing a lot on shifting to all cruelty-free beauty. And so in doing so, it's kind of a slow process, but I'm trying to really find alternatives to the products I have loved, you know, that were not cruelty-free. I have some favorites, and so I'm trying to find replacements for those and bring all of those kinds of reviews to you on the channel here. And so Lawless is one of those brands that is cruelty-free, so I'm so happy I get to keep it. So I am excited for this one that they dropped it. It's a skin plumping, supposed to really, you know, smooth outlines. This says it's plumping, smoothing, and nourishing. So I got the shade 4L, if you can see that. I am usually light. I'm not like super fair, but I'm pretty light skin toned, and I have a neutral skin tone base. So I usually go for neutrals. I can kind of pull off either a warm or cool sometimes, but I'm a neutral skin type. So I usually go for whatever that one is. So I think this one will hopefully be the right match. Let's get started on playing with it now. Okay, so what side of the face do we want? My skin is completely, I do have on like moisturizer that I put on beforehand. I've let it sink in for a little while, and my brows are done. But besides that, I have on no makeup so that we can get a really good feel for it. And I obviously have a little bit of extra things going on today. Last few days, I have been starting to test out a retinoid again, guys. So I don't know if it has anything to do with it. I'm a little broken out here. These are just my main age spots I've always got. So I don't know that any one side of the face is better. They're kind of equal in blemishes and whatnot. So we'll go ahead and just start off. I think I'll start on this side and test her out that way. I'm going to test it using my usual Sigma flat kabuki brush. This is the F80. I use this a lot on clients. Oh, wow, that's going to be dark. I'm not sure if I matched myself well. Let's kind of see how it looks. Oh, I don't know. On the jawline there, it looks okay. This is why we match here. It might be a little off, but I think I can make it work. It's a little more warm on me, even though I think this is for a neutral. But going straight in, I like this brush the best for especially stippling. It just, helps when I can kind of lay it on a little flat. I've got different styles of brushes depending on how I want it to go on. Yeah, you can see that it's a little more yellow. So the shading might be a little different. I tried to go based on the description. I think it just said light neutral, and that's usually what I am. So I might have to take a look at our shading colors just to see, is Lawless gonna be an easy one to match you? Does it have enough skin tone ranges? All of that kind of stuff. But at the moment, I'm just gonna try to get a feel for more of the texture and blend. I am definitely turning a little more yellow. So first impression here, it did a pretty good job of coverage. I'm trying to remember what they said the coverage is. I want to think it was kind of a medium coverage, might have been their claim. They're saying 100% showed increased skin hydration after 8 weeks of use. 97% said it provides the perfect amount of coverage, and 90% says the skin looks immediately smoother. So I do think it's providing pretty good coverage. I'd say medium. I do like this finish. I will say, I don't think it's going on the most hydrating, but it might actually be a perfect mix for somebody who doesn't want too hydrating. You know, they want it to still have some moisture, but not be just, some people think it's greasy the way that I like it. It's not as hydrating as my typical like favorite blends, but I'd say it's pretty good. Would I rave about this? So like I just tried the Lisa Eldridge skin tint, and I feel like nothing compares to that now because even though that one was a skin tint, you can build it up to a lot more coverage. It almost just feels like a full foundation to me, but it is so gorgeous and hydrating and just so smooth on the skin. So now everything compared to that, I'm like, it's all right. I think this provides a really nice, beautiful, like very cohesive finish though. Like I feel like it's giving the same look as the Dior foundation stick that I didn't like as much because it was kind of matte for me. Like I feel like this could be your almost more matte. I mean, it feels silky upon touch, but I just feel like the way it's laying on my skin is almost more matte-like, and almost I'm seeing slightly like chalky. I see more pores kind of coming through it. So I think there's a slight matte chalkiness to it as well. So I think some people are going to love this that are more on the folks who love like the Dior foundation might like this one. All right, so now I'm going to try it with a primer under it, and let's just look. Here's this side compared to this side. Let's try it out now with a primer. I am in keeping with cruelty-free. I'm going to go with Tarte Double Duty Beauty. This is the Shape Tape primer. And we'll put some over on the other side and balance it all out. So, but I definitely wanted you to see the difference between this side and this side. All right, so I'm throwing this on the same hand, and we are gonna throw on a little primer first and see if that makes any difference in the feel. Because I do feel like sometimes it's not, I mean, I always wear a fuller foundation like this with a primer underneath. So I don't want to judge a foundation completely on its own. I want to judge it the way I would wear it, I definitely will come in with a primer first, and let's just keep it consistent for the sake of my review. And already I can see the primer smoothing things out a little bit. And so that can make a big difference, honestly. Now, I don't have the Lawless primer. I should have gotten the Lawless primer. I just happened to pick this up from Sephora. So that is another one I really want to try because it looks amazing. Like it's starting to even out. It's just a different color. All right, so now let's try that foundation on top of the primer. Sometimes we want to give it a couple minutes too to seep in. And I'm going to go straight over the spots that are the most problems and go from there. That makes a big difference, doesn't it? Can you guys see it? I can see it on camera. I don't know if it's picking up for you, but yeah, just smoothness wise, the primer is definitely making a big difference. And I've only done one pass of each, right? I think. So this is a good feel for how it is just from one pass. I haven't had to come back in and build it back up. I don't really feel like it's necessary because I do feel like it's giving good coverage. I mean, I said medium, but you know, it could be medium to full, especially now that it's kind of drying in. That's some pretty darn good coverage. I'm looking yellow. I don't think I got the right shade match. Okay, so I'm gonna look closer in my mirror here. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing texture a good bit coming through. I think it's, you know, like I think it is pretty beautiful. I think it's giving me a very smooth, solid canvas. Like I can just tell the canvas, but again, I can tell still that it's a little more on the matte side than I typically go for. I wouldn't say it's completely matte. I mean, I don't want to sell it as a matte formula. It's just not as buttery hydration as I like and really skin smoothing hydration as I like. But man, is it giving some really good coverage, really good coverage. So, and I think it's a nice, I think it looks good on camera. More matte finishes look good on camera too, like just so you know. So it's one of those things where it depends on what you look for in your foundation. But I would definitely wear this, continue to wear this. Here's the side without the primer. I want you to be able to see the texture. And here's the side with primer. Honestly, the side with primer might be giving more texture. Yeah, this one actually looks smoother without it, doesn't it? Interesting. Now that we've kind of made that assessment, I'm going to go ahead and put on my full makeup and we'll come back and let you see how it looks under a full set of makeup, how I would normally wear my makeup, kind of a finished look, and we'll talk about everything. And I may take a peek at some of the shades as well, just so I can give my thoughts on if I think there's good shade ranges and whatnot. So I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I am back, and here is my just finished look for the day. And I will do a wear test for you also. We are going to get tattoos. My daughter and I are getting matching mother and daughter tattoos tonight. So I'm going to see how it all holds up, and I'll report back to you afterwards. But here is the look. So, you know, I did have a different shade than I was expecting, but, you know, once I get my full face of makeup on, it's fine. It all looks like it was meant to be that way. I look a little bit more tan than I really am. So in looking at the shade ranges, I feel like for the most part, I think it was 33 different shades. I think there's a good bit of shades. You've got a lot of ranges. So for the most part, I feel like it's good. As far as inclusivity goes, there was plenty of deep shade tones that went well up the line, and it is sometimes the deeper ranges that I think is harder to find shade matches for a lot of times. So that is good. However, I feel like on the other end, on the lighter ranges, is where it's maybe lacking just a little. And I think it's because it does seem like everything's running tanner than I would expect it to. And I think that's what happened with mine. Because, for example, if you look at their picture of the model in the picture, she's more tan than I am. But normally a description of light neutral is exactly my shade type. So this shade that's on me right now is definitely more true to what the model's wearing. So I would just tell you guys as part of my review, if you're looking this up and you want to know what shade is right for you, don't go based on what you normally wear. Make sure you look at the pictures of the model and match your skin as close to the model as you can if you're shopping online. Because I do think that these color ranges are running deeper. And I kind of saw that to be the case in other shades just from, you know, being a makeup artist and how I would shade match people. I think it's running just a little darker. Only part where I think it's not as okay is that for your really light tone people, your very pale folks, I don't think there's enough for you guys. Because where I really should be according to Lawless and their shade matching, it would be a 2L, not a 4L, which puts me at a fair skin. I'm not usually in the fair skin range. I know I'm light, but I'm not that light. I'm normally light. I'm normally like a light color. So according to like where I match with the model would be more like the 2L. And so you really only have like one fair cool tone, one fair neutral, and one fair warm. And I don't think that's enough. And so I think of people like my sister who is ghostly white, and I'm not sure there's even going to be a color that matches for her. It's probably going to be too dark, the lightest color. So I think they need a little more shade ranges in the lighter tones, unfortunately. Besides that, I think the shade ranges are okay. Just know that you're going to probably want to go on the lighter side than on the warmer side, or on the, not warm, but like lighter side than on the deeper side, if there's a question. Definitely check out the model. So as far as the overall look, I mean, it is really, I feel like this is going to lock in well. Great. It's got a great, beautiful coverage, beautiful, just seamless canvas for sure. It's just feeling slightly more chalky and matte to me than I was expecting. Well, like I feel like it does offer some hydration, but it's not a dewy finish. It's not a glowing finish. Keep in mind, I have on all liquid finish on everything else. I have liquid bronzer on, I have liquid blush and liquid highlight right now. So I may look like I'm glowing at the moment, but all of this is from extra makeup, not from the foundation. But yeah, like you can see, I mean, this is all the foundation here. So you would want to look more in this area. And this is definitely all a little more just kind of matte. And it might be kind of in the middle of like matte and luminous, just more matte than what I typically go for. So I think it's going to be a good, probably a little more universal for like different people. Like, I don't think it's too matte and I don't think it's too luminous. It's luminous. I mean, I think it's probably that perfect blend in the middle. Gives you a gorgeous canvas and a gorgeous coverage, I think. So overall, I would still really recommend it. There's just probably a few little critiques here and there, and just keeping in mind my preferences are usually, I want to glow from space and I want to be dewy and just want my cheeks and everything to just be so like plump and moist, and that's kind of more what I look for in a foundation. So, and that's usually way too dewy for a lot of people. So just keep that in mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my tattoo, and I'll be back tonight with a wear test, and we'll check back in and wrap it up from there. All right, guys, so I think it's been probably about 8 hours. So let's see where we're at. I know the lighting's a little different. I feel like that foundation has stayed in place. Look at that. Not a lot shifted. All my other makeup's gone. My lipstick's obviously gone. A little bit of my eyes. Even the contour and blush is gone, but that foundation's still holding up pretty good. Turn that light on so we can see even more. And let me get my mirror out. Yeah, pretty good. Now I feel like, I don't feel like I look as tan as I did before. Like, did it oxidize? I do feel like the color changed. Maybe it's the lighting in here that's a little different, but overall the finish is holding out really well. I still see that texture, really see that texture coming through, but I think my coverage is still fairly locked in. Yeah, very impressed with it. So just a different finish, I think. I think the biggest thing, critique I'd have is just, I feel like the texture comes through even more as it has worn on, but don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know what you see after the day. Hopefully you have enough light and can kind of tell. Okay, guys, so that wraps it up for today. Hopefully that was helpful. Let me know if you're going to be picking this one up or if you've tried it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it too. It's definitely one I'll be wearing in the future. I'll just be keeping in mind my shade matching. Probably as I move into the summer and I'm getting more and more tan, it might be the perfect shade match for me then. So maybe it was good timing. Make sure that if you want to see more reviews like this in the future, if you really are into cruelty-free, conscious beauty, I will be bringing a lot more of this, and I will definitely be at some point bringing some roundups where we do go through some probably ranking favorite cruelty-free foundations, cruelty-free skin tints, cruelty-free primers, and other types of makeup as well. I cover a lot of beauty boxes here too, so I sample a lot of different beauty, do lots of reviews, unboxings, and hauls. We do a lot of fun here. You don't want to miss it all. Definitely pop that subscribe so you don't miss more of it in the future, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye!